Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Vaughn, and today we're going to move through a 30-minute beginner yoga flow. One thing to note before we get started, I do have a block near me. This will come in handy as we move throughout our sequence, so if you have a block or a block-like object, I think it would be useful to keep one nearby. But we'll go ahead and get started in extended child's pose. To do that, we'll bring the big toes together to touch and open the knees to either side of the mat. You can start to sit back onto your heels and allow the chest to fall down towards the ground. Arms can reach out in front of you. You can allow the chin or the forehead to rest on the mat. And we'll take a moment here to get grounded and orient ourselves to the physical space. So we'll start with our breathing, lengthening the inhales and deepening the exhales. Noticing perhaps if there's any points or areas in your bodies where you are feeling tension or where you're perhaps gripping onto the mat. Ask yourself if you can release that tension and feel fully supported by the ground underneath you. You can use your breath to inform you of your movements. Allow it to be audible enough that it can carry you through your physical practice today. Know that if at any time you need to take breaks or find a different variation to a posture I suggest, you can go ahead and take it. Overall, this practice is meant to inform you of the sensations that are arising in your body. So do what you need to do to feel safe and secure in your practice today. On your next inhale, we'll come up to a tabletop position, taking your time. And then we'll create a neutral spine by first pressing all 10 toenails into the mat, as well as the tops of the feet. You can press the pelvis forward, creating a slight posterior tilt, and the navel will draw up and in towards the spine. Press the mat away from you to create some protraction in the shoulders and create as much space as possible in between all 10 fingers. Now, as you're ready, we'll move through a few rounds of cow and cat. So take a breath in and start to dip the belly low as you spread through the sits bones and press the shoulder blades back. Exhale to arch and round the spine, draw the navel up and in, and the chin into the chest. Deep breath in, dipping the belly low, pressing the shoulder blades back and gazing up high. Exhaling, arching and rounding the spine like you're pulling your kneecaps into your underarms. Inhale, breath, dipping the belly low, pressing the shoulder blades back. Exhaling, arching and rounding the spine. Come back to your neutral tabletop position and take an inhale breath here. As you're ready, you'll tuck the toes under and lift the kneecaps. Find downward facing position on an exhale. So you're creating an upside down V shape with the body. And in your downward facing dog, you can pedal out the feet. You can take whatever organic movements are making sense to you right now. Stretching out the calves by coming up onto the tiptoes and melting the heels back down toward the mat. Whatever is calling to you in this moment. And then allow your breath to inform you of when to find some stillness. We'll start by bringing our awareness to the soles of the feet, specifically the heels. Now, the heels may not touch the ground, and that's okay. But if you find yourself trying to force them down towards the mat, see if you can let that go and just let gravity do the work here. Internally, rotate the thighs like you're squeezing something in between the knees, and you'll point the sits bones, the sacrum, up towards the sky. Press the mat away from you as you draw the navel up and in, and take your gaze down towards your big toes, through your knees, or perhaps up towards your navel. Now, as you're ready, you'll come up onto your tiptoes and take a breath in and gaze towards your hands. As you exhale, slowly walk your feet behind the wrists, hips width distance apart, and we'll set up ragdoll forward fold. You can grab opposite elbow with opposite hand. You can take a bend to the knees or you can straighten them. Bending the knees will release the lower back, while straightening the knees will provide you with a nice hamstring stretch. So choose what you would like to do in this posture. You can sway side to side, back and forth, Overall, we're allowing the head, neck, and shoulders to be completely heavy. Moving at your own pace, you can release the palms down to the mat. Keep a deep bend in the knees and slowly start to rise up to a standing position. We're stacking one vertebrae on top of the other. There's no rush to get to standing, but once you are there, you can reach both arms up overhead and take a moment here to breathe. Your feet can be hips width distance apart, or you can toe heel them together. Either way, we're rooting down through the soles of the feet, so pressing down through the pinky toes, the big toes, and the heels. Engage the quadriceps by pulling up on the kneecaps and press the pelvis forward, so doing a slight pelvic thrust to create that posterior tilt. Navel draws up and in to engage the core and allow the shoulders to relax down the back. Now take an inhale here, start to extend through the fingertips, and then exhale to a forward fold, hanging the head heavy, hinging at the hips, taking your gaze through your knees. On an inhale breath, find a halfway lift. You can either come up to the tips of your fingers or slide your palms to your shins, and take a moment here. Equal weight distribution in both feet, and if your palms are on the shins, press into them to straighten the elbows. Press the shoulder blades back towards the spine, and overall you're creating one long line from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Breathe in here, and exhale, move to your belly, chest, and chin. So plant the palms, step the feet back to hips width distance apart, and then lower all the way down, trying to squeeze the elbows in towards the rib cage, moving with control before the belly, chest, and chin touches down to the mat. And from here, we'll move into Cobra Pose. So press into the tops of the feet, the kneecaps might lift off of the ground, and you'll squeeze the inner thighs together. Palms will plant underneath the shoulders and hug the elbows inward. Now in our Cobra Pose, we want to use the strength of the core and the spine to lift the chest up. So keep as little weight as possible in the palms. When you're ready, gaze directly out in front of you. Take a breath in, lift the rib cage off of the mat and breathe. Keep squeezing the elbows in and pressing the shoulders back. Isometrically, we're dragging the hands back towards the feet. One more breath in, peel one more rib off of the mat. And then exhale, make your way to downward facing dog. Push into tabletop position, then tuck the toes under, lift the knees, and send the hips high. Once you're downward facing position, take a breath in and a breath out. As you're ready, gaze forward and see your hands. Exhale, you can step or walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten the back. And exhale, forward fold, allow the head to hang heavy. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand, sweeping the arms up overhead. Right away, exhale, fold forward, hinging at the hips and lowering down. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, this time we'll move through a modified Chaturanga. You can plant the palms, step the feet back, hips width distance. This time we'll lower down to the knees. We're going to lower down halfway, bending at the elbows and creating a 90-degree angle. But rather than coming all the way down this time, we're going to move into upward facing position. So you'll press into the tops of the feet, start to straighten the elbows, and create a back bend. Breathe here. Roll the triceps in towards the rib cage and spread through the collarbones. Perhaps you take your gaze up. Inhale here. And then exhale, send the hips high, roll over the toes, and come into downward facing position. Once there, you'll breathe in and out. Gaze forward when you're ready to see your hands. Inhale. Exhale, step or walk to the top of your space. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. And exhale, fold forward, lower the head down. Inhale to chair pose, sitting low like you're sitting into a seat.
reaching the arms up overhead or touching them to heart center. You can also rest the hands on the hips, and we'll take a moment to breathe here. So you're rocking your weight into the heels, so much so that you might be able to peel all 10 toes off of the mat. Tuck the tailbone down and back. Allow the tailbone to get heavy so that you can sit a little bit lower in your seat. Navel is tucked into the spine. Press the shoulder blades back. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, fold forward, lower down. Inhale, halfway lift. Press the shoulders back. And exhale, we'll find a low lunge. Plant the palms, step the left foot back, and we'll come into our low lunge, stacking the right knee directly over the right ankle. Inhale to a crescent moon position. Drop down to the back knee and untuck the toes. Lift the chest and reach the arms up overhead. Take a breath here. You can touch the hands to heart center or rest them on the hips like in chair pose. Either way, regardless of the arm variation, we're pulling the right hip back and rolling the left hip forward. We're also engaging the inner thighs. It's like we're trying to bunch the mat up underneath us. Inhale here. And then exhale, make your way to half splits. So you can plant the palms to frame the right foot, start to shift back and straighten the right knee, flex the toes. You can keep a micro bend in the front knee here to protect the knee joint. Otherwise, your hips are more or less stacked over the left knee. And you can use your inhales to lengthen the spine and an exhale to deepen into the posture. When you're ready, you can rebend the front knee and we'll move into a twisting lunge. So you can stay grounded on the back knee or you can tuck the toes under and lift the kneecap. Either way, you're going to press the mat away from you through the left palm, start to open up the chest and reach the right fingertips high. Keep pulling the right hip back in space. And if your back knee is lifted and you find yourself on your toes, see if you can relax the arch of the foot as you sink into the hips. Inhale here. And exhale, we'll move through a vinyasa. So that could be either lowering all the way down to belly, chest, and chin and coming through cobra, or moving through your modified chaturanga, lowering down halfway on your knees and pressing up to upward facing dog. Either way, whichever variation you choose, we'll meet in downward facing position. Once there, you'll take a breath in and a breath out. Gaze forward when you are ready to see your hands. Exhale, step or walk to the top of your space. Inhale, halfway lift, flatten the back. And exhale, fold forward, lower the head. Moving on to the other side, inhaling to chair pose, sitting low, finding your arm variation and breathing. Again, rocking the weight back, getting heavy in the tailbone, sitting a little bit lower, pointing the tailbone back. Pulling all of the energy towards the center of gravity in your body and squeezing the ankles, knees, and thighs together. Even if the feet aren't touching, you can still create that same leg engagement. Breathe in here, and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway, and exhale, move into your low lunge. So the right foot will step back this time, left knee will stack directly over the left ankle. When you're ready, inhale to crescent moon, lowering down to the back knee, untucking the toes, lifting the chest and breathing, finding your arm variation. And again, pulling this left femur back into the hip socket while you press the right hip forward and engaging the inner thighs. Keep the core engaged. Inhale. And exhale, find your half splits. Plant the palms. Start to shift back. Straighten the left knee and flex the toes. You're energetically acting as if you're going to drag the left heel back towards the back of your mat. Using your inhales to lengthen and the exhales to deepen. Shift forward on the inhale, rebending the front knee. And when you're ready, finding your twisting lunge. So either staying grounded on the back knee or lifting the knee off of the mat. Pressing the mat away from you through the right hand and reaching the left fingertips high. Charging through the back heel if the knee is lifted, allowing yourself to sink into the hips, but keeping that 90-degree bend in the left knee. Inhale here. And exhale, move through your version of a vinyasa, planting the palm and stepping the left foot back, moving through your variation, and meeting in downward facing position. Breathe in here, and breathe out. When you're ready, take an inhale breath and reach your right toes high. So you're coming into three-legged dog. And once the leg is lifted, be mindful of rotating the right hip down so that the pelvis is level. As you exhale, come into a low lunge. So a different way of entering into your low lunge, you're drawing the knee into the chest, pressing the mat away from you, like in cat pose. And then when you're ready, however you need to get it there, plant the right foot in between the palms. From here, we'll move into warrior two. So you'll spin the back heel down, and before you rise up, really squeeze the inner thighs together and lock in the core before you lift the chest and reach the arms out to a T. And take a moment here to set up your foundation in this posture. So we're creating front heel to back arch alignment, meaning that the feet are perpendicular to one another, and you're pressing into the outer edge of the back foot. Sink into the front knee, so we have a 90-degree bend here, and then you're going to press the outside of the right knee towards the pinky side of the right toe. Press the pelvis forward and allow the shoulders to relax down the back. Take your gaze out over the right middle finger. Now, if you have a block, you can locate it and plant it in front of the right foot. We're going to move into half moon pose from here. So it might take a little navigating, so you might need to step the back foot forward. Keep a bend for now in the front knee, lower the right palm down to the block. As you're ready, start to lift the left foot high, coming in line more or less with the shoulders. And keep the left hand high, pointing up towards the sky, or allow it to rest on the hip. Focusing on the foundational leg, pressing down through the right big toe, pinky toe, and heel, and keep pressing the block away from you. See if you can open up your chest a little bit more. And then release when you're ready, coming back into warrior two. Moving with control, coming back to your foundation, sinking into the front knee. When you're ready, inhaling to reverse triangle. So the left hand will come down, right arm will come up, and breathe here. So we have a straight knee, and we're really working on externally rotating the hips. So you might even take your hands, grab onto the thighs and roll them back while you press the pelvis forward. We're lengthening out the right side body here. So focus less on bending the back and focus more on pulling up on the right shoulder. Take an inhale. And then exhale, circle the arms down to the mat and move through your variation of a vinyasa. So again, lowering all the way down to belly, chest, and chin, and moving through cobra, or moving through your modified chaturanga, meeting in downward facing dog. Once you're there, you'll take a breath in and a breath out. Inhale, breath, reach your left toes high, coming into your three-legged dog, and right away roll the left hip down to level out the pelvis. As you exhale, draw the knee into the chest, come into your low lunge, press the mat away from you, And then however it needs to get there, plant the left foot in between the palms. From here, inhale to warrior two. Spin the back heel down, squeeze the inner thighs as you rise up and breathe. Set up your foundation, feet are perpendicular to each other, and start pressing into the outer arch of the back foot. Sink into the hips. See if you can notice your big toe and second toe. If you can't, perhaps you just press the outside of the left knee towards the outside of the left foot. Chest is parallel to the long side edge of the mat. Heart is stacked over the hips. When you're ready, locate your block. Place it in front of the left foot. Might need to step the back foot forward before you launch off of the back foot and come into your half moon. Keep squeezing the right glute to maintain elevation in the leg. And flex the toes. Keep the core engaged and focus on rooting down through the standing leg. One more breath in. And then exhale, slowly release the back foot down, coming into your warrior two once again. When you're ready, inhaling to reverse triangle. Right arm comes down, left arm comes up, and breathe. Tuck the tailbone down, keep rooting down through both soles of the feet, and again, breathing into the left side rib cage, pulling up on the left shoulder, allowing that to travel up and extend through the left fingertips. Inhale. And exhale, circle the arms to the mat. Move through your variation of a vinyasa. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. Once you're in downward facing position, breathe in and breathe out. Moving at your own pace, inhale, your right toes high. And exhale, we'll find half pigeon pose. So draw the knee into the chest first, then touch the right ankle to the left wrist. Start to sit down onto the hips and then check behind you to ensure that the left leg is stacked directly behind the left hip. Now, if you have a block, it might be a little bit more comfortable if you place the block underneath the right glute. This will allow you to sit up onto the hips rather than sink into them. When you're ready, start to walk the hands back, puff up the chest and inhale. And exhale, start to fold over the right shin. You can come down onto your forearms. If you have another block or prop, you can rest your forearms or your forehead on that. Whatever variation you choose, we're taking a moment to breathe into the hips, noticing the sensations that are arising there. If you're resting on your forearms, you can press back up to your palms. And if you used a block, you can remove it for now and set it aside. We'll swing the left leg around and we'll come into a seated staff position. So you can flex the toes and then we'll take an inhale and reach both arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold forward over the thighs. You can bend the knees any amount in this posture. Otherwise, you can catch the ankles, the shins. If it's accessible, you can bind the hands around the soles of the feet. All that we're really trying to accomplish here is creating some curvature, some flexion in the spine. So whatever your body needs to do to make that happen, do it. Moving at your own pace, inhale, start to lift the chest. And then exhale, we'll make our way back to downward facing position, however you need to get there. Once there, inhale and send your left toes high. And exhale, find half pigeon pose on the other side, drawing the knee into the chest, touching the left ankle towards the right wrist. Sitting down onto the hips and using a block if you need it. Check behind you to make sure that the right leg is in the proper position. And front shin, more or less parallel to the front of the mat, but not a big deal if it's not. When you're ready, start to walk the hands back. Inhale as you puff up the chest. And exhale, fold forward. And if you're resting on your forearms, come back to your palms. Walk the hands back and remove a prop if you used it. Send the right leg around, and then we'll make our way onto our backs. So you can turn around to face the back of your mat and then recline. We'll find legs up the wall from here, so allow the arms to rest by your sides. Send the legs straight up. Flex the toes, bend the knees any amount, and press the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. And legs up the wall is a great introductory inversion that helps you get used to the perception of having the feet or the legs above the head. Also gives us the opportunity, gives our body the opportunity to allow the blood to flow in the opposite direction and nourish the internal organs. If we had the time, I'd say stay in legs up the wall for 20 minutes. And if that sounds like a long time, you can also use a wall space to support the legs, and then 20 minutes doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But as you're ready, you'll come out of legs up the wall and you'll hug the knees into the chest. You can reach your right arm out to a T or a goalpost position, and then use your left hand to guide both knees over to the left, coming into a supine twist, twisting through the middle of the back here. And you can take your gaze out over your right fingertips. You can gaze straight up, or perhaps start to close your eyes. And I invite you, when you're ready, to come back to center, breathing in as you hug the knees into the chest. And then exhale, you can send the left arm out to a T and use the right hand to guide the knees over to the right, coming into your supine twist on the other side. And again, finding where you would like your gaze. When you're ready, come back to center on an inhale and hug the knees into the chest. You can wrap the forearms around the knees and give yourself a big squeeze. Take a big breath in, squeeze the ankles, knees, and thighs together. Perhaps the forehead lifts to reach the knees. Take one more sip of air, and then exhale, release into your final resting posture, Shavasana. taking up as much space as you need, closing down the eyes if it feels comfortable to do so, allowing yourself to breathe freely and turn inward. We'll take 2 minutes in our resting posture here, and then I will guide us out and we'll wrap up our practice. Slowly start to bring your awareness back to your breath, lengthening the inhales and exhales, and then inviting some mindful movements to the fingers and toes, growing those movements to the ankles and wrists, taking circles in one direction or the other, and perhaps you move your chin from one shoulder to the other. Moving at your own pace, I invite you to find a long body stretch, taking a breath in, reaching the arms overhead to frame the ears, and pointing the toes in the opposite direction. As you exhale, rolling over onto your right or left side, using your bicep as a pillow. And taking a moment here in this posture of rebirth to find gratitude for your practice, your moving meditation, your body, and your willingness to share your practice today. And press up to a seated position, taking your time. Coming into an easy seated posture, one ankle in front of the other. You can close down your eyes or have a soft gaze out in front of you and touch your hands to heart center. And I appreciate you sharing your practice with me today. And I hope to see you again in the future. And you can draw your thumbs to your third eye center, your seat of intuition and all-knowing. Peace, be well, and bow forward when you're ready. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Vaughn. I hope to see you again soon. Take care.